Let me see. I need to think on what I'm going to talk about. This is important. So let me focus on the main ideas. First of all, I'm completely sober. What else? My arm is damaged. I might need surgery soon. I don't know. I don't know if I can afford it or not. I'll have to see. What else? There's a lot in my mind. I'm going to reflect on years of my life and how it led to me being here. Um, let's see. Where did it start? I started. I took control of my life when I went to art school. 2015, my life was going okay, and I just started community college. Then my father passed away suddenly from a heart attack. We couldn't do anything about it. It was sudden. He was a wonderful man. He lived a good life, but he had a bad heart. It's just we don't have very good hearts in our family. He did the best he could. He supported our family. He never hit me. We just got into arguments, but for the most part, he was a very jolly person, and I miss him every day. Then I went to art school. I went to community college to study art so I can become a comic artist, illustrator, animator, etc. Exactly where I'm at now. Let me see what else. Why did I get into art? I got into art to connect to people because I really enjoy talking with people, having conversations, and getting to know each other. And art's definitely a good way to create a discussion because I also like reading. So I like to read a lot. I consider myself a fairly intelligent person. I graduated with a magna cum laude at my university, so top 5% of the university. I took classes very seriously. I cared a lot, and I did well. I would say I wasn't very respected because my work was different. I was an illustrator, and it was an abstract school, 2D fine arts. So that's a whole nother story. But around the time I finished art school, my gallery shows were done, and I was ready to move. Move back home with my mom. The problem with my mom is, is that she's extremely bipolar. She had a lot of mental health issues that did not get checked. So some days she was very jolly. Other days she would hit me over making food. I couldn't control it. However, when I was away from my mom, we had a great relationship. So whenever I was not near my mom, we had a good time. And she loved me dearly, but I could not be near her because she was basically controlled by intrusive thoughts. After the passing of my father, those intrusive thoughts just took over her entire life. She couldn't sleep without crying about missing her father. She couldn't deal with life without him. She just basically fell down a path of self destruction. We couldn't help her. She refused help. And taking her rights away just didn't feel right. She just wanted to die. And last year she did. Her heart gave out. But towards the end, she tried her best, but her body gave out. She ended up in hospital. She beat up nurses, but once they got her on sedatives, she was the best person ever. She was so happy it was finally over. And she gave me nothing but positive remarks, and she believed that I could do well. And I do miss her. I miss the good in her, not the demons that control her. There was my mom, but she was controlled by the demons that came about because of drug abuse over years. And no mental health wellness check, no support system, nothing. And I tried my best to help her. I was was basically her best friend outside of her sister. And I failed because I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with her abusing me. I couldn't stop it, so I ran away. I lived with my brother. I lived in different places. I'm now in Texas for some reason. I seem to keep moving. Um, but after art school, I was given an offer by someone named Kazra. He linked me to this person named PA Stevie. We got in touch. He immediately started being sexual with me and offered me drugs. And he treated me like I was the best person ever. And I wasn't used to it because I was used to people just being cruel to me, just mocking me, or just being a go-getter and having a lot of ambition. So I thought that this person genuinely liked me and saw good in me. So then he offered me a space in Pennsylvania. Of course, I'm going to take it because I can't deal with my mom and I didn't have any other space. My brother didn't have space at the time. So I had to take the offer that made the most sense for my own well-being. It seemed like the best deal. However, it was the worst deal ever for a multitude of reasons. First of all, before then, I had never been on drugs. The worst thing I had done is alcohol. Even that, I barely even touch anymore, but the worst thing I did was alcohol. I was given lots and lots of THC, which was foreign to me. It made me feel good. It made me feel special. It made me think harder, faster, stronger. It improved my art. I was wildly addicted to it. But it caused me to start speaking in different ways. People refer to this as you not yourself. You're controlled by this other force that is not you, that is taking over your body and speaking for you, which of course has gotten worse over the years as I've tried to deal with these intrusive thoughts. But before that, I took no drugs, but I was constantly fed drugs that changed my mind. One thing you must know is that you cannot consent on drugs. If you do not consent before taking drugs and someone takes advantage of you, you were raped. And that's happened multiple times in my life, in many different places, where I'd be on a substance, someone would figure out that I'm on a substance, and then they would start to invest love into me. Many, many people have done this, and I've now seen it. I know how to deal with it. But because I was so naive, I did not understand. So essentially, I was exploited because they know how to take advantage of people on substances in order to get the things that they want, which is sex, just sex, abuse, these different feelings of power over individuals. So then what happened? I'd say for the first month or two, it was okay. I found out quickly that this person was extremely manipulative and much more bipolar than my mother, but I was told as soon as I was moving that I would be dealing with a bipolar person. What does that mean? That means some days they were very happy. Other days they told me they wanted to kill me. They told me they were going to poison my food. They were going to kill me and their dog. Then when I told other people, like his family, they told me he's just joking. He threatened me, he intimidated me. And I constantly told him, stop doing this, please. And he didn't care. He thought he had so much power over me as, of course, the landlord or something. You never live with the landlord, for one. So I dealt with a lot of crap. I felt like I was having to fix this person who constantly was in suicidal thoughts. And the world was against me. Whenever I tried to fix something, they would tell me to change my life to accommodate this abuser. I did my best, and nothing worked. Over time, this person just continued to get worse and worse. I tried to explain it to people that this person was abusing me mentally almost every single day. He was feeding me drugs and then making me feel awful, which was making my life even worse. I couldn't get off the drugs. They were an escape from all the bullshit I had to deal with. Then what happened? There's so much to think about what I dealt with. First of all, Hazrad, Nick, would constantly talk down to me and act like I was a parasite. The thing with the deal was they promised to let me live there for about a year or two rent free. That's a big red flag. I did not think about it at the time because I had no income. I was like, okay, I'll live here for 3 years. I'll pay for some food and do commissions, or I worked a side job, and it was actually going fine. My project was working the way I wanted to. Everything was going fine except for the living situation with the person who was constantly making me feel awful every day, telling other people to make me feel bad. I was being attacked by his friends, which I'm not going to name, and I felt very alone and in a corner every day, and I didn't know what to do. At some point, I was on substances, lying in bed, and then I was almost, there was no light on. It was a couple instances where I saw him in my mask, he put a needle on my neck, then he abused me, and I was awake. It was not an hallucination because it is very hard-coded and specific. Hallucinations are often distortions of your local environment. I have yet to see any kind of hallucinations that weren't abstract geometric shapes or, like, say, spiders. That's it. I've never said hallucinated like full figures outside of like shadow people. So that was very specific, and it happened twice. The second time, he brought the dog. Then after the second time, I woke up. I had a lot of marks on my neck, blue marks. Even his mom noticed. His mom had me go to the doctor. The doctors magically didn't know what it was, even though it was strangle marks. So after that happened, Stevie tried to kill himself twice. One car wreck, that was the job. So after the first car wreck, he lost his job. Then I was told to start paying rent. And I agreed because I needed to stay there. I didn't want to go back to my mom's. So I paid my half of the rent. Then he tried to kill himself a second time. He got another car wreck. Then they demanded that I paid full rent. I said no. I'm going to work full time at this job I really hate. At that, it was okay at the start, but it got worse because it was very stressful and it had me do so much work. I was just done with it. I'm like, no, I'm going to lose my money. I'm going to basically support a person who's been constantly abusive to me. And then Nick would just consistently make it feel like I was the enemy. I was wrong for not supporting this abuser that he teamed up with to consistently make me feel inferior and awful about my life. But I tried my best every day to do well. But it just got worse. And I just wanted to escape and just take more drugs that I never really wanted to be on at the begin with. If I ever had to have a choice, it would be never go to Pennsylvania and take that bad deal. Then I wouldn't be on drugs. Sure, my art wouldn't be as funny, wacky, whatever the hell that is. I don't know. It's cool where it's at, but I had to go through so much shit to make it look the way it does. So much work. So after the second suicide attempt and me refusing to pay full rent because I didn't want to support an abuser, Nick decided to evict me. You may ask, what is he? Is he the landlord? No, he made all of his decisions for Stevie. All of his decisions. Then he told me to do the things, which made absolutely no sense. I informed his family, and they were like half brain dead. So it did not matter. They did not care. His mother was a Trump supporter. I pointed out Trump went to Epstein's Island and most likely raped kids. And she said, yes, he did. And then I said, are you still voting for him? Yes, I am, because he's for abortion or against abortion, pro-choice. I'm sorry. Basically meaning that she said she didn't care that Trump raped kids. It was more about the purpose of winning. So I really think they're awful, dumb people. So I had to get an emergency move out in 30 days. And I was lucky that my aunt was so graceful to move me, but I had to go back with my mom. As soon as that days within me moving back to my mom, she beat the shit out of me because I was cooking eggs in the morning. She didn't like the smell of the eggs. My mom was basically almost dead. That was 2022. No, 2021. My mother passed away in 2022. Okay. So then everything else, it kind of fits. I joined communities. My favorite community to this day is still Floriverse. I was helped out so much by Flip and Pingo, but I was shitty to them. Flip gave me a lot of food, and that helped me a lot when I was broke and starving. Pingo helped me out a lot with art. A lot with art. They really believed in me and my project, but I constantly was just so aggravatingly shitty to them because the drugs made me angry. And I had all this trauma making me hate everyone and everything around me. I saw everything as an enemy that needed to be defeated. And I lost so much. I lost the love and care of people that genuinely did good in my life because I couldn't escape the drugs. I tried. I tried to do good, but I feel like I'm still a problem. I still can't escape this addiction because it's so much easier to escape and forget about all the shit I dealt with. I'm trying my best. That is why I want to become a public speaker. I want to help out people in similar situations by showing them what these people do, how they manipulate others, how they exploit artists for their own desire, their own pleasure and profit. I have to explain to people how it works, how you cannot consent on drugs. There's no way about it. You cannot consent on drugs. This is it. I'm pointing at you. You can't consent on drugs. That means if people get sex out of you, they ask for sex, and you're on drugs and you didn't consent before, you've been raped. That is simply how it is. And I need to inform people of this as much as I can because this is a dominant issue in the furry fandom. Furries use two things: love, sex, drugs. Well, you can argue sex and drugs are similar because it's just similar feelings, but love is used to poison people's hearts because if a person feels like they're in love, they feel secure, safe, and everything's wonderful. And then the people will proceed to use anger, hate, pain. They'll just do shitty things to people after they trap them with love. Then they got them on drugs, and it's easier for them to trick them into doing things that they want. Then they get what they want, and the person's left with trauma and PTSD. So here I am. Here I am making this video because I have severe PTSD. No matter how much therapy I've had from friends and people, I can't get rid of this PTSD. That is why I'm making this video, because I have to let this out. It's the only way. Because every day I see these people, it makes me embarrassed that nobody wants to do anything about them. For example, I recently decided to poke the person I've been focused on, Nick. The first thing he does is go around all these different communities to say, I'm so worried about you. Are you okay? And not once in years has he ever spoke to me to remedy the situation. He's had years to fix the evils that he's committed upon me and others. He only cares about one thing. No, two things: money and image. He wants to look good. He doesn't care. He is constantly drunk. He is constantly talking about how smarter and more important he is than others. He believes most people are fucking stupid and easily conned But I am much smarter than this guy. That is why I am here, speaking my mind, while he is hiding under a rock. Hiding under a rock, waiting to put on some bullshit. Waiting to tell some porn artist to come and threaten and intimidate me. Waiting to just keep pushing the bullshit narrative so he can keep making money on people. He can keep exploiting artists if he has a good image, if people believe in his bullshit. I don't believe in his shit for even a second. I will never believe in his shit. Him or any of the people around him who've been pushing this shit in order to exploit artists for their own pleasure and profit. I will stand against him till my dying breath, and anyone like him. These deceivers need to be pushed out of the fandom. We need to educate people on harm reduction and how these abusers trick people at cons and social circles everywhere in order to get what they want because they're too fucking weak to actually develop a connection beyond basic needs. I've had enough. I'm going to stand up for people in need. If people want to fight me on this, they want to go to war because they can't draw their stupid yellow cat, go ahead, fight me. Fight me and my friends. See what good it does.